Hi, welcome to Capitol Views. I'm Tim Bradner, and welcome today to newly elected Representative Cliff Groh, representing Anchorage's downtown District 18. Welcome, Cliff.
Welcome, Tim. I'm happy to be here. Thanks a lot for having me.
Um, Cliff, we would like to just ask you're kind of new to the legislature, but you've been around and active in Alaska public affairs for a long time, and I'd like to ask a little bit about your background,
Sure.
particularly that you, as I recall, worked staffing in the legislature in 1980 and 81 when the permanent fund dividend was created. So
Um,
interestingly, you were in the room there when the deed was done. So you
Correct.
could maybe talk about your background a little bit and then tell us about that, what it was like.
Sure. I'm Cliff Groh. I'm a lifelong Alaskan, and I represent a North Anchorage district that, as you said, includes part of downtown Anchorage, also includes parts of five other neighborhoods. Very oddly shaped district. Government Hill, Joint Base Homeowner Research Center, J Bear, plus parts of downtown Fairview, Mountain View, North Muldoon. I feel very lucky to be in the legislature. I'm honored to serve the people of House District 18 in that North Anchorage district. As I said, I was born and raised in Alaska, born and raised in Anchorage. I've also lived in Juneau and Sitka. And I had the privilege and honor of working for the legislature in 1981 and 1982, including in 1982 when the per capita permanent fund dividend bill that we have today was enacted. I worked by far more than any other legislative staff member on that bill, and was privileged to work with a number of smart and public-spirited Alaskans who helped deliver that bill into effect, made it law. And I have written more, both at the time, about the permanent fund dividend, and probably later even more than Jay Hammond, because he's written about a number of topics. And I feel lucky to have participated in that. I also worked for the Alaska Department of Revenue and the Cooper administration, and helped bring about the passage of a major oil tax bill that brought in $2 billion to our state. So this is actually my 8th session that I've worked in the Capitol. But this is the first one since 1991 in which I've actually been paid to be in the building. I've worked in the last 30 years. I've spent months in total in the Capitol, meeting with legislators and putting on presentations and about Alaska's structural deficit, primarily in my role as a board member of Alaska Common Ground and as chair of that organization for 4 years. So I feel, as I said, very fortunate to have this position as a legislator representing House District 18, and I'm doing my best to serve the district and the people of Alaska.
Well, Cliff, there's a lot of history there. The dividend has been really important to a lot of Alaskans, and I'm wondering if I mean, how important is it that we get our fiscal structure solved? We have an imbalance. We continue to pay a dividend. It's important. Uh, we're in a society where people don't like the idea of paying taxes. What's your feeling on it?
I believed for a long time in a comprehensive solution to our state's structural deficit. And I am pleased that a report came out by a bipartisan and bicameral group of legislators in 2021. It's called the Fiscal Policy Working Group. I am pleased that a number of legislators, including the Speaker of the House, Kathy Tilton, and some other members of the House majority, have joined other legislators in talking about why this is a good roadmap. It's basically a five-legged stool, which has to be done simultaneously, in my view, and in the view of the Fiscal Policy Working Group. Ending the endless debate over the dividends by providing constitutional certainty, so we don't argue over the amount every year and tie up the legislature doing that. Secondly, further protecting the permanent fund by putting the percentage market value rules into the Constitution to prevent the legislature and the governor from effectively spending all the permanent fund earnings reserve account in next week, which would be legally allowed under current law. Number three, raising revenues in the order of $500 to $775 million a year. Also a healthy capital budget, and then a spending cap reform paired with budget reductions. I think that those things are a package and must be enacted as a package. And I look forward to working with other legislators and the administration to help bring that forward. I consider that critical for the future of our state.
Cliff, maybe you can speak to your own professional background. You are an attorney, and as I recall, you've worked as you were a city attorney in Sitka for a
I
while.
was a municipal attorney. I was a city and borough attorney in Sitka. I've also been the assistant municipal attorney in Anchorage. I've worked for a number of years for other local governments as well, while working with law firms. And additionally, I've also been a prosecutor. I've been an assistant district attorney for the state of Alaska. And so I have a long legal career, and I look forward to bringing that to bear in my work in the committees that I serve on, which include the House Judiciary Committee, the House Committee on Ways and Means, as well as the House Military and Veterans Affairs Committee and the Joint Armed Services Committee.
Uh, Cliff, can you speak to any particular issues of importance to constituents? I'm thinking particularly maybe some of the military.
I want to help continue to remove barriers for military dependents and spouses to work in Alaska while they're here. I want to make sure there's strong schools on Joint Base Elmwood Richardson and throughout our district and throughout our state, and make sure that we have enough funding to provide those strong schools. I additionally want to help deal with some of the traffic problems in the North Muldoon part of my district, which include blind corners and some streets that have no sidewalks and busy residential streets. I have a number of local priorities, as well as combating homelessness, which is a major problem in my district and throughout Anchorage, and obviously some other communities in Alaska.
Well, Cliff, thanks. We're running short of time. Cliff, I want to thank you for joining us. It's been interesting, and I will look forward to seeing you in Juneau. And again, thanks for joining us on Capitol Views.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, KTOO.